this is Carla and welcome back to the studio, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. So for this Thursday, I am going to be using the Tropical Chic bundle. This was a bundle that was in our 2018-19 annual catalog. Now this was part of a suite of products, but all I have is the bundle and the 6x6 Tropical Escape DSP. The colors in this paper: Basic Black, Blushing Bride, Granny Apple Green, Shaded Spruce, and Whisper White. At that time we had Whisper White, and now it's since now going by Basic White. So in this suite of product, there was also some resin embellishments. There was also a choice of two different types of ribbons, but I do not have those, so I'm going to be utilizing what I have. So also with this, now this wasn't part of this suite. This is actually part of another tropical themed suite that was in a later catalog, the Coastal Weave 3D embossing folder. So I'll be using this in our second project. So to start off, I have a piece of, let me pull everything out here. I have a piece of Basic White Thick that measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I have it scored at 4.25. I have a piece of that Tropical Escape DSP that measures 5.25 by 4. I have a 2.25 by 2.25 inch piece of Basic White, and then I have 8 1-inch squares of Basic White. So they have 3, 6. Okay, I do got 8. So to get started, I'm going to fold and burnish my card base. And then I'm going to take my DSP and I'm going to adhere that onto the card base. And I'm going to pull out my silicone craft sheet because this particular adhesive, I don't know, it's been active. I don't know what it is with this one. For some reason, it's leaving like I don't know, like some kind of plastic string when I go to use it. I don't know if you could see that, but it's kind of annoying and I keep on having to pull it off. But I am going to keep on using this until I am done with this roll of refill of it. So I'll get there soon. So I will take, see now I got a piece of that on the bottom. That's the one annoying thing about it, and then it sticks to my fingers when I try to get it off. Okay, so then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to center it on my card base like so. Okay, and then I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to bring in some scrap paper, and then on these little itty bitty pieces here, I'm going to stamp 4 of them using the flower image that's in the stamp set, and then the other 4 I'm going to stamp using one of the leaf images. So I have the flower here, and I got my little palm, and I have my larger tropical leaf, and then I have a greeting that says, "You are the greatest." So the colors of ink that I'm going to use is the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And then I have, let's see, what did I use in here? I used the Blushing Bride and Granny Apple Green and Shaded Spruce. Okay, so then the Shaded Spruce, I'm going to stamp this smaller leaf here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink this up, and I'm going to stamp off, and then I'm just going to randomly go over these squares. Now the image is larger than the squares itself, so I'm just going to do it in different directions. I don't want them to all look identical. And let's knock that one off, and I didn't stamp off on that one. Let's do that one again. Okay. Okay. And then there's our fourth one, so I'm going to put that aside. And then I'm done with this color. Then I'm going to bring in my Blushing Bride. And I'm going to get these pieces here. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing as what I did with that leaf. I'm going to ink it up. I'm going to stamp it off and stamp it onto my squares. So, okay. And then let's see, for my larger square here, I'm going to bring in my Granny Apple Green. I want to see how inky this is, because if it's really dark, let's see, it's not, it needs more ink, so it's actually perfect for what I'm going to do. And I'm going to stamp this one right here into this square, like so. And then I'm going to bring in my Memento black ink, and I'm going to bring in this greeting. I'm going to ink this up really well. And I'm going to stamp right over this leaf, and hopefully I can get it straight. No, well, that's way crooked, but we can go with it being a little crooked. We'll say that we purposefully did it that way, or we can do the next best thing. There's two sides to cardstock, so let's re-ink this back up again, and hopefully I can get this straight. There's the edge. Okay, that's straighter. I want this to be dry before I go back over it again with the Granny Apple Green. Okay, so let me bring that back in. Up. And I'm going to stamp right over it. Like so. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so let me move this out of the way. So now let's go ahead and assemble our card. Okay, so I have my silicone craft sheet, and I have all my little pieces here. Then I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of these. And let me see, does my other one looks like it needs to be refilled. And actually, I think I'm going to do that, because I'll tell you that stringiness from that one, it is a little nerve-wracking. So let me just clean this one up a little bit. What happens, sometimes you get some glue that sticks on the edge of that. So I'm just removing that from both the pieces. And then I have behind me in my drawer, I do have some refills. This one out. And hopefully this one doesn't have that same issue as that other one where it's, I don't know what's up with that particular one with the stringy that's coming off of it. I've never had that happen before. Okay, so I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of these. Okay, I'm not seeing any of that stringy stuff coming off. I do not want them to stick together. Leave it on here. Okay, and then we have our larger, was this side right? Yep. Okay, put that one aside so I don't pull that one out again. Okay, so with these squares, a little staticky, I'm going to add them onto my card. And what I'm going to use is a T-ruler to help line these up. So I'm going to just kind of line that up. And I want one of the flowers. So I want to take this and I want to kind of line it up about there. And then I'm going to take another one of those flowers. Okay, I'm picking up everyone but. And then, let's see, I'm going to take this one. And I'm going to add this one about here. This kind of helps place them. Now, I'm not going to fully adhere these down because I want to make sure that I have them, you know, equally spaced or close to being equally spaced. So once I got those across, I'm going to come from up on the top here and move these out of the way. And I'm going to line this up to that one, like so. And then, let's see, I'm going to do, what's this one? We got this one here. I'm just going to place that. And then we got another one of these. Go here. And then we got a flower. Go here. And then I have this bigger piece with the greeting on it. So this is going to kind of line up with the ones, these two up here. And these over on the side. And push that up a little bit. Bring that down just a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to come from over on this side now and kind of line this up with that one. And let's see, we're going to take this one. Which way do we want to point this one? Let's point this one down. And this one, I'm going to line it up to the edge of that bigger square that's right above it. So, and then we got one more flower that, let's see, we'll put it up this way. We'll place this one here. Now we want that to line up with that edge. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to then go ahead and press these down. Okay, then I'm going to take some linen thread and I'm going to make a double bow. Now I want a longer tail on this bow. And we don't need a really, really big loop on our bows. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in my snips. And I'm going to trim this here and then cut that loop. Now a little piece there. So there's our big bow. And then I'm going to bring in some glue dots, which I know I have some in here. And I'm going to eventually need those. Let's bring in my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to add 2 of them like right here. These are smaller glue dots. And these come from one of the paper pumpkin kits. I have so many of these sheets of these, so I'm using these rather than buying the box of them. Okay, so there's our bow. And then I'm going to bring in some of our rhinestone basic jewels. And I'm going to add, let's grab a larger one. We'll put that one down here. And then we'll take 2 of these medium-sized ones and we'll add one here. And we'll take one and we'll kind of slip it over on this side here. So we're not done blinging this thing up. So I'm going to bring in my Wink of Stella. And I'm just going to brush some on to the flowers. Just add a little bit more sparkle onto this. I'm not going to so much worry about putting it on the leaves because I do know that if I add this to the leaves, that it will kind of pull that ink and it'll actually fill in all those white areas of that palm. Okay. So there is our first card. On to our second. Okay, so for my second card, I have another piece of the basic white thick that measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Magenta Madness, and this measures 5 by 3 3/4. I have a piece of basic white. This is the regular white, 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. And then I have some scraps of the basic white that I'm going to stamp and die cut. So to start off, I'm going to fold and burnish this card base. And I'm going to set this aside. And then also going to set aside this piece of the Magenta Madness. And then for this piece of basic white, I'm going to stamp on that. And then I'm also going to emboss it with this embossing folder. So for this, the colors that I'm going to use are Magenta Madness, Smoky Slate, and Parakeet Party. So on this piece, I'm going to bring in my Smoky Slate. And I'm going to bring in this image here that has these lines. And I'm going to stamp across about here. So I'm just going to stamp these twice. Okay. And then I'm done with this. Oh no, I'm not done with that. Let me bring in my scrap paper again. And then I'm going to use this image that looks like a cluster of little leaves. And I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm just going to randomly add some to the background here. Now a good part of this is going to be covered up, so won't be seeing too much of it. Let me add one more like that. Okay. And then, let's see, so this will set aside. Like I said, this will be embossed with this embossing folder. I'm going to do all of my embossing and my die cutting at the same time. Okay, so then I'm going to, on my scrap pieces here, I'm going to take this one here, and I have a greeting that says, with much love and thanks. And I'm going to bring in my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Now let me see, is this somewhat straight? Okay. Because this one will be, I don't have a die. I probably do have a die that's big enough to die cut this, but yeah, I got quite a few of them, and yeah, it would have took so much time to try and find one. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to stamp this, and then I'm just going to trim it down. I'm going to stamp it like that. Okay, and that's stamped really well. And so for this piece, I do have a mini trimmer that in my next part, when I go to speed things up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim that down. So I'll set that aside. Okay, and then on these pieces, I'm going to stamp. Let's see, we'll start with our leaves. So I'm going to stamp 2 of these palms in the Parakeet Party. Let's see, put one there. And then I'm going to take another one. And I'll stamp that one over here. I have so many scraps of the white, so instead of just one big piece, I just utilize some of the smaller pieces that I have. Okay, so then for this tropical leaf, I don't know the technical name for it, but it's a tropical leaf. I'm going to stamp one right here. And then another one over on this piece. Okay. And then with my Magenta Madness, I'm going to stamp 3 of these flowers. So this card's going to be a really bright card. Okay. Alright, so for these images here that I stamped. I do have these dies pulled out that I'm going to die cut, so they do have their own dies. So I'm going to die cut those. So this is the part where I'm going to speed up and I'm going to die cut these. I'm going to emboss this piece and I'm also going to trim that greeting piece as well. So I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in all of my pieces. So for this embossed piece of basic white, I'm going to take this and I'm going to adhere this to my piece of Magenta Madness. Okay, so let me just center that. And then I'm going to then take this and adhere it to my card base. Center that. So there is a bigger border around this. Okay. All right. And then on these leaves, I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of these. And one more. Make sure that I don't have any adhesive sticking off of that. Okay, so for these palms, I'm going to place one down in this corner here. And then I'm going to have this one and coming up in the other direction. And then for these leaves, I'm going to add one over here. And I'm going to add this one kind of like down here. Okay, and then with my greeting, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm going to add 3 onto the back of this. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to place this over this part here that I stamped. I want some of that to show. I'm going to add this, and hopefully I'm getting this straight. I'm lining up that edge to the side of this. Okay, and then on these flowers, I'm going to add these like so. So for these, I want to strategically place these dimensionals on it. So I'm going to add one up near the top here. And I'm going to place this one right over here. Now I'm not going to quite press them down quite yet. just in case if I need to move them. I'm going to place this one here. Then we got one more. That we'll take and we'll add right down here. Okay, so I'm good with that. So I'm going to press those down. And then I'm going to bring in my Winter Stella. And I'm going to add some of this onto these flowers. And you can, I don't know if you can see it, but when I color over this Magenta Madness ink, it is pulling some of that ink and filling in the white areas of the flowers. Okay, and then that scrap paper that I got, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll clean off my brush because you can see that it did pick up some of that pink. I want to get that off so I don't have it when I go to do my next project with it. Okay, so now we're not done blinging this up. So I'm going to bring in these glue dots again. And this time I'm going to add, let's see, where we're going to place it. Kind of place it up here. Press that down. I can get the paper backing off because these are smaller. That's why I'm going with 2 of them. Because I'm going to be making another double bow using the linen thread. Let me bring that in. Double this up. And we don't need this bow to be as big as our last one. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Okay. And then we don't need it as long either, so trim that. Okay, and then we'll place this bow right there. And then we're going to bring in our rhinestones again. And this time, let's see, where's my take your pick tool? I'm going to use 3 of these larger ones. And one more, place that one over here. Okay, so there is our second card. I really love the pop of the, almost like the neon green and the pink up against this white. So this is our second card. So let me bring in the first one that we did. So here's our first one. This one we just basically, it's a simple layout. It's just the easiest way to line up these squares is to use a T-square ruler. That one I did get off of Amazon, so they're fairly inexpensive and they truly do help when you need to line pieces up with each other. So that's our projects for this episode of Throwback Thursday using the Tropical Chic bundle. If you like the projects, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, because it does help me not only in growing my channel, but also helping in growing my Stampin' Up! Business. So with that, everyone have a blessed one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.